chiefs coming out saying big things. It's real, it's ongoing, we have to get after it. Then the president comes out, ignores everything that they just said, blames the media as a threat, calls it a hoax. Where does that leave us?
I think it leaves us where we were before. The fact is that we don't need a direction from the president to the intelligence chiefs to be on guard against Russian interference with our elections, number one. Number two, as far as what the president says on any given day, frankly, he says a lot of things. He is, I think, campaigning against impeachment rather than saying anything that is designed to affect the outcome of a case. So I kind of brush that off.
But to go back to your first point, that we don't need the president for the intelligence community, that's a little counterintuitive. We expect the leadership from the president to be of paramount importance when we're dealing with threats like this, which to the democracy is basically existential. So for him to not be on the same page seems to be highly counterproductive.
It's counterproductive, but it is not at all necessarily critical. These intelligence agencies, particularly in an administration where statements get made all the time, I think are pretty much doing their jobs without regard to what the president may be saying on a day-to-day basis.
Although Coates did say in the past, the director of national intelligence, you
right.
Of course know that, that he didn't have a big plan ready to go to fight from a cybersecurity perspective because he needed the president to come to him and say, you need to do this. So it's not as simple as just independent authority.
It may not be as simple as independent authority, but the fact is that there is planning going on inside the Department of Homeland Security, inside the National Security Agency, inside the FBI, inside all of these agencies. They don't, I think, need necessarily a mother may I from the president.
Now, that's politics. Let's move to law, because we know why the president doesn't like talking about Russian interference, because he hates the probe. He sees the probe as being about him. He believes that it delegitimizes him. He doesn't want anything to do with it. He doesn't want anybody to put any stock in it, hence all of his invective toward it and those of us who cover it. If you were his attorney, he says, I want to sit down with this guy. I'm going to tell Mueller the truth. I'm going to get myself done with this once and for all. You say?
Don't do it.
Why not? I'm telling the truth. I have nothing to hide. I did nothing.
That's fine. Mueller doesn't need the president's testimony. He's got everything he needs if he's conducting an investigation into what he's supposed to be there to investigate. There's no necessity for it.
Why not?
Because the president has been quoted on every subject that Mueller is investigating, or is supposed to be investigating. He was put there for one reason and for one reason only, and that is that there was supposedly a conflict in the Justice Department conducting an investigation into a relationship between the Trump campaign and the Russians. That's what it says in the initial order, and that's the only justification for having a special counsel.
Don't you think it's a real one?
The justification?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's a real one or not.
The supposed conflict of interest that Rosenstein was worried about.
Yeah, there would be a conflict in an investigation of the president's campaign, but...
So he did the right thing, picking the special counsel.
Query whether there was enough evidence to suggest that kind of... that there was a criminal interaction between the Russians and the president. But assuming that there was, then he had to have picked a special counsel.
Because you had written early on in the case that they shouldn't have picked a special counsel. They didn't need it. Do you feel differently?